Organic compounds are composed of nonmetals, primarily carbons and hydrogens, and because of that, they have covalent bonds. Their properties would differ a great deal from something that had ionic bonds, which tend to be inorganic compounds. There's a few things that we can generalize about the properties of organic compounds and compare them to inorganic. Remember, this is a big generalization, so it doesn't fit every organic or every inorganic compound. So one thing is, we know that organic compounds exist as discrete or individual molecules. And that goes back to the bonding. So organic, which is formed of nonmetals, tends to have covalent bonding. And inorganic, while not exclusively to this, would have a lot of ionic bonding. Now the state, because organic molecules are held together by weaker intermolecular forces, because they have individual molecules, they tend to have all three states. So they can form gases, liquids, and low melting solids. Where ionic compounds, which have ionic bonds all throughout, tend to have high melting solids. For organic compounds, if you're comparing them to inorganic, their boiling point and melting point tends to be lower than inorganic compounds. Now, when it comes to solubility, we know that like dissolves like. And what that means is similarities in polarity. So the closer two substances are in polarity, the more likely they will be soluble in each other. So organic compounds tend to be soluble in organic solvents. They tend not to dissolve in water. However, they can if they'll hydrogen bond to it or if they're polar, because water is a polar substance. So in general, organic substances are going to be insoluble in water unless they fit these two criteria up here, where ionic substances or inorganic substances oftentimes are soluble. Now, if like dissolves like, organic substances like to dissolve in other nonpolar organic solvents, whereas inorganic substances will be insoluble. In your solubility lab, you've already experimented a little bit with these type of relationships. Now, in terms of flammability, organic substances tend to be flammable. Where inorganic substances tend to be non-flammable. Now this again is not a list. In chemistry you cannot make oftentimes lists that are exclusive, but it kind of gives you a little bit about the idea between inorganic and organic properties. I would really highly encourage you to look in your book and read through the short sections on environmental pollutants and on different vitamins. Because, for example, in things like solubility, there's different solubilities of different vitamins, and it actually has them behave differently in our body. So I really think you would find it very interesting to take a look at those sections at the end of this chapter. It's kind of fun and helps you understand your world just a little bit better.